everyone. Welcome to Mission to Inspire. My name is Shola, and I've got our guest here with me today. I'm not going to mention her name just yet. I'm just going to do a short introduction of who she is. She's the founder of SRK Serviced Accommodation in Peterborough, and her name is Selina. Selina, how are you? You're welcome.
Hi, Shola. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome on our show today, and thank you for accepting our invitation to come on the talk show.
You're very welcome.
So can you tell us, who is Shelina Ratansi?
Right, so Shelina. So I actually came to the UK with my parents in the 70s when Idi Amin ordered all the Asians to leave the country. And working life, well, I actually grew up in London, in West London and in Middlesex. And I then, after my studies, worked for a global company for over 26 years as a manager. And then, like everybody, you think your job is secure. And they called me in the office and said, right, you know, your job is going to be no longer. I came out of that and I said to my husband, there's no way I want to work for anybody anymore. If, you know, I gave all my life and my passion of working, my time and dedication, and they just told me to go. So he says, so what are you going to do? I said, I really don't know, you know, starting a career, you know, when you think that you were going to retire in that company. So I went on a property course, and after 3 months after having been on the course, I actually got my first property, which needed a full refurb. So I did the full refurb on that property. And after the refurb, I thought, right, well, this is great. We've done a great job, but I've run out of money now. So what am I going to do? So I then did another course, and I did serviced accommodation course. And from that, I got my first 2 properties in December 2019, and in March we went into lockdown. So wow. I was only trading for 3 months before we went to lockdown. So I think my saving grace was I went and I always did meet and greet with my guests, and when we went into lockdown, obviously people could come back to work. And they contacted me directly to say, we're coming back to the area, or we've got a friend coming to the area. Would you be able to accommodate them? And that's what really kept me going and helped me actually grow my business during the pandemic. So I went from 2 properties to 9 properties.
From 2 properties to 9 properties?
Yeah, to 9 properties. So, you know, I did have a lot of challenges along the way. So I think the challenges I faced after I did the actual course, I went to letting agents to find obviously property deals and rent-to-rent deals, and one of the main obstacles I did find, there were, you know, a bit sexist as well, but there was a bit of racism there as well. So I went into a letting agent. I had an English friend with me, and you know, she went into the news agent, and I had the details of the property, went inside the letting agent and said I was interested in this property. And the guy just was not interested. He was looking away. And, you know, I just got that feeling, you know, when you look and you think, well, this guy's just not listening to me. He was looking away, looking at the piece of paper. And I came out of there and I thought, no. And my friend said, oh, you came out really quick, you know. And I said, she said, did you get an appointment? I said, no. She said, well, why not? And I said, well, the guy wasn't interested. She goes, what do you mean? And I said, well, it was either the colour of my skin or my headscarf or me being a female. I don't really know. And she said, oh, God, she said, no. He said, why are you looking, you know, using your colour of skin as an excuse? She said, oh, that doesn't happen nowadays. I said, oh, okay, then. So she said, right, you wait out around the corner here. I'm going to go in. I said, okay, then. So she went in the letting agent, and she said, I'm interested to view this property. He said, oh, I'll take a seat. And he actually got her an appointment for that afternoon. So she came back out and her face was just like a picture.
Wow.
And she said, I've actually got an appointment. And I was like, good for you. So she said, I really don't know what to say. She said, I didn't think this existed. And I said, we don't just use our color of skin as an excuse. These things do actually happen. So she was really shocked. She was mortified. So we went to view the property, and the same agent was there, and he looks at me and his face was a picture. He did not know where to look. and my friend just said, it wasn't me, it was her that actually wanted to see the property.
Oh yeah.
And I just said, so what was it? I said, was it the color of my skin, or was it my headscarf, or what was it? And he just didn't know what to say. He just walked, I said, do you know what? I wouldn't want to do business with you. So, I just walked away, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm not going to give up.
Yeah.
So I then started going direct to landlord.
Right.
And that's how I obtained the first 2 properties direct to landlord.
Wow. But that was so brave of you anyway, how you did that, how you were able to overcome that challenge. It's really, 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 really brave of you. So would you say, was it more of your gender that was the challenge when you were starting, or was it more of religion? What was it?
I think sometimes you do get a bit of both, but I think in that incident with the letting agent, I think it was the color of the skin and the headscarf.
Right.
Now, I did actually speak to one of my mentors a few months down the line, and I said, this is what I experienced.
Wow.
And he turned around and he said to me, it's not the first I'm hearing of this. It's not the first time. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I've heard this before. So I said, he said, the only way that you can get around that is if you went into that letting agent and you showed him your bank balance.
Really?
He said, if you showed your app that you've got this amount of money in your bank account, I bet you he would have treated you differently. And I thought, but why should I have to do that? Why should I have to prove myself by showing him my bank account? I'm sorry, but I don't think that I would want to do that. And he said, yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but maybe I think they look at Asian women as not the decision maker. And I thought, oh, right, okay. So it might not be the color of the skin. It might actually be that they feel, or people feel out there, that Asian women are not decision makers. They're suppressed, or so I think they need to be educated that no, we can stand on our own feet, and we are independent. So my husband has nothing to do with my business. I run my business myself.
Yes.
So I think that's that's the sort of things that you do face, and I faced it when I was actually a store manager as well for the global company. Sometimes my staff used to come and say, oh, the client wants to speak to a manager. And if I came out, they said, no, we asked to speak to a manager, as if like they were expecting a male to walk out. And you think, well, females can be managers too, and it's, so you do get that. I got that in the work industry as well. But I didn't think I'd actually get that, in the property entrepreneur world sort of either. So these are the things that you do face, but I think you need to be strong enough to say, well, actually, I'm not going to give up. Just because you have that point of view, I'm not going to give up because of that. So I was quite determined that I wasn't going to let him put me off.
Of course. And of course, you were so determined anyway. You didn't let that put you off in any way. And you still accomplished all what you've accomplished at the moment. I was going through your website and I saw all the properties on there that you are, using for serviced accommodation. And I could actually see some of them being fully booked. So you're doing so well for yourself anyway.
Yeah, well, for me, I think the actual serviced accommodation industry, I don't just look at it as a cash flow business where a lot of people do. I do look at it look at it as a hospitality, and hospitality really is customer service. So, you know, I always make that conscious effort of meeting my guests. So all of my guests actually know who I am. I will personally go and meet them and say hi and introduce myself. And I'm always there on the other side of the phone for them, and they know. So as soon as I get a booking, I will make sure that I will create a group, and I will put them on there and say, look, if you need anything, you just contact me. And I think, you know, you've just got to respect your guests, and they will do the same back. So I know I've heard a lot of horror stories where, you know, people's properties have been trashed and whatever. Touch wood, that's never happened to me. But I have always shown them that respect and that care. And I think that's what makes me different in my niche to my competitors, is I go and meet and greet. I show that care. And it's not just about taking money, you know, it's about, I want you to be comfortable. So a lot of times I've had some hosts turn around and say to me, you spend so much money on your setting up your serviced accommodation, you go over the top. And I said, but, you know, you can get a bed for £100, you know, why are you spending so much? And I just say, well, the comfort of my guests is a really big priority for me, because if they go out there and work all day and come back, they deserve a good night's sleep. Because if I had a bad night's sleep, I wouldn't be happy. So why should I expect my guests just, you know, to accept that? So that's why I put a lot of passion. And after I'd actually started doing serviced accommodation, I realized then that I had a talent of decorating and doing interior design. So I actually have done all my properties myself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Help me. Yeah.
Wow. So you've done all the decorations, all the interior decor and everything all by yourself?
All by myself.
Wow. They all look very lovely though, because I've actually, when I went on the website and I was looking through all the flats on the 2 beds and the 3 beds, they all looked very lovely. And I'm sure they actually have a concept which spoke directly of the founder, which is you, because they all have the same touch.
Yes, and I think it's important. I didn't want it all the same, because I just don't believe in having everything uniform. I know people say about the brand colors, but I just, every apartment, so I've got the 6 apartments are in one location.
Yes.
So and the layouts are very similar, but you know, one will be opposite to the other one, but and I just wanted to make them all unique and give them a different feel, each and every one of them. In my opinion, what is really, really important is building that relationship also with your landlord, because the same landlord, he's a developer and was only willing to give me 2 at the start, because he'd never experienced the serviced accommodation sort of market. And he just wanted to test it. He was a bit skeptical, but after he gave me the 2 and I had the 2, he you know, and I only had him for 6 months, he came and, you know, did his inspections, and he was like wow, you know, he's just said, this is amazing, they look so beautiful. And then when another one came up, he gave me the 3rd one, and then 3 came out at the same time, and he gave me all, you know, the rest of the 3. So he's got 2 blocks of 4 each, and I've got 6 of them, so I've only got 2 to go now.
From the same landlord.
Same landlord. So it's really, really important to build that trust, because I know that if I would have gone to him right at the start and said I want 6, he would not have given them. But I think it's building that trust. So you know, you giving them that respect, but you know, them being able to trust you. So he's obviously been into the properties and thought, well, actually, this is great. You know, the properties are well looked after, they're professionally cleaned after all the guests, you know, leave. So he's more than happy as a landlord. What more do you want? Somebody that looks after your property and pays your rent on time.
Exactly. So for those that would want to, you know, contact you or book a place, or, you know, just patronize you, how can they contact you?
So they can contact me direct via email on info@srkaccommodation.co.uk.
Okay, great. Excellent. So we now know how to contact the founder of SRK service accommodation in Peterborough. So all your accommodations, service accommodation, they are all located in Peterborough.
Yes, so I've got the 6 apartments in one location. Then I've got a 3-bedroom chalet house.
Yeah,
that's just right near the cathedral. So that's a beautiful place as well. They all of them are based in Peterborough.
Okay, good to know. So if I may ask, what advice do you have for women of color who may be starting out?
So the advice I would probably give any women with color is have a goal and a vision, and make sure that you actually follow your goal and your vision. Don't let any obstacles we're going to all get, but it's to overcome those obstacles. Don't ever give up, because the minute you give up, then they've achieved what they want to, and why should we let anybody achieve and make decisions in our own life? We're independent, and if you've got a vision and a goal, just go out there and strive to achieve it. That's the main thing I would actually say to them. We can all do things. Yeah. We can all achieve what our dreams, but never ever give up. And people like that, I think we need to just educate people out there that we are independent and we can be successful, and there are a lot of successful women out there. So why should we feel suppressed and let anybody tell us any different? We are strong, and we can be successful. And women do run, a lot of successful women run successful businesses, and we can be the same.
That's true.
Follow your dream.
Thank you so much. Follow your dream. We should all follow our dream. Any inspiration, advice for anybody at all, man or woman, male or female, young or old, that might want to start a business but are facing obstacles for various reasons? It could be either because of their ethnic group or cultural background or religion.
Yeah, what I would say, there are a few things that probably helped me. Making sure that you have the knowledge.
Right.
So if you've got the knowledge, you'll have, if you've got an obstacle one way, you've got enough knowledge to go somewhere else. Yes. And do something else. So you've got a different strategy that you can look at, different ways. And when you actually do go for, like, make sure you educate yourself, you read books, you go on courses, you do meet some really, really good people. I've met some amazing people along the way. And sometimes you can be at the right time, right place, right time, and have that conversation with somebody, and they can say to you, actually, you know what, I can help you on this. But never underestimate, yourself. If you've got that knowledge, you've basically got more power. So knowledge is power. Reading books as well is great, because that will give, the more knowledge you'll have, the more confident you'll be. So when anyone is starting a business, it is very nerve-wracking, like going from a working life to a business life. It's two different things. And it can be very overwhelming. I mean, for me, it was really, really, I mean, I'm 50 now. So going into education, when you're 48 is like, whoa, but the thing is I was determined that I was not going to let, my work life, because that had ended, just finish my career there. So follow your passion, make sure you gain that knowledge, because that knowledge is power. Definitely knowledge is power. So go out there and make sure you get that knowledge, because that will help you. That will really, really help you.
Wow, thank you so much. So we just have to go out there and, learn, read, educate ourselves. Knowledge is power, basically.
Yeah, and surround yourself with like-minded people, because that will really make a big difference as well. So if you have people that are negative around you, or sometimes you can have family members that can be really negative. So you can't put your family aside, but you can ignore it, sort of like, I've got a dream and I want to achieve this. You can say, that's your opinion, you can say what you want, but I want to do this. Exactly. And if you're determined enough, that's why I just think if having the right people around you will really, really help. Because it's whoever you hang around with, your mind will grow that in that way as well. So make sure that you do hang around with like-minded people. So go to social networks, go to local events. A lot of free networks out there. Go and join them. For females as well, there are a lot of female Facebook groups.
Right.
And I've joined, I joined quite a few of them right at the start, and that really does help because you've got females there, and they all sort of want to flourish in their businesses. They they're either some starting up, some are really successful, and you can share so many good things as well, and they can be so helpful.
That's very true. Very true. Thank you so much for your word of advice. One more thing before you go. When you were starting up your business, you said you bought, got one property, and then one or two, and then your finances, everything was finished, and you needed to source more funding, more finance for you to be able to continue in your journey. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. So my best advice would be buying properties is great, but you need a lot of capital, because you've got, especially if you're doing a refurb, you need 25% deposit first for the house. And before you can even start the refurb. So you need to have a big pot of money. If you don't, then my advice would be is go rent to rent. And that way you can actually, and there's less risk as well, because if you're actually buying a property, you've invested a lot of money, and if that doesn't work out, you've lost that. So if you do a rent to rent, then it's a bit more safety net there for you, and there's less outlay cost for you. So then all you've got to do is just the decorations, or just doing the furnishing on there. So my advice would be, if you want to scale fast, is to go rent to rent. But if you obviously want to purchase the property, then you do have to have a bigger pot.
Okay, right. Thank you so much. So if we want to scale fast, go and do rent to rent. Okay. So is it rent to rent that you're doing at the moment then?
So the 7 properties I've got, they're rent to rent.
Okay.
After that first refurb, buy to let, I bought another one.
Okay.
Another 4-bedroom. But
wow.
I've got long-term tenants in there who are so happy, and I don't want to disturb them, because I just don't feel it's the right thing to do. So they're happy. I don't have no problems with them. And sometimes it's good not to have all your eggs in one basket, and having something different as well.
Yes. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all your word of advice and all the tips that you've shared with us today. Shelina, thank you so much.
No problem at all. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us today and listening to all the word of advice and all the tips. Thank you so much. And please remember to subscribe, like and share and comment on our video today. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.